Felt brave enough to return then, I see. Good. Welcome back to the land of Lindwurm, adventurer. My name is Hydra, and today we look further into the Nations of Warcrow. Join me, if you dare. Our journey today will take us far and wide to the frozen lands of the north, beneath the highest mountains, and deep within the choking fog which corrupts the land. Thanks to our friends at CCG Winkle for sponsoring this video. If you want to pick up a copy of Warcrow, the new battle pack which comes out in July, then I'd recommend heading to the CCG website and registering for a pre-order. This will ensure that yours is amongst the first to be ordered when the 2-player battle pack drops. And don't worry, they ship worldwide. Thanks also to our supporters on both Patreon and YouTube membership. We couldn't do it without you guys, you're absolute legends. And if you want to support the channel and see not just Warcrow but more Crow, then consider dropping us a like, subscribe, or even toss a coin to your dice gods and join our membership or Patreon to get access to exclusive videos and more. Now, let's dive back into the lands of Lindwurm and see who else will await us when the game arrives. We start with the other half of the launch battle pack, the Winds of the North. In our last video we discussed the hegemony of Embasig, and today we meet the northern tribes. These are actually two distinct races, the Orcs and the Varank. The Orcs have lived in the northern, icy, boreal lands for centuries. Hulking humanoids, these cunning hunters are apex predators who start their training at a young age. From 10 years old, young Orcs, known as cubs, join in the hunt, first with bows and arrows, then moving to javelins and spears, before large, heavy hand weapons when they mature. Though a violent race, Orcs are never vicious or cruel. They value honour, seeking glory in their conquest through displays of strength and cunning. Through this, they establish and assert their position in their culture. Within Orc society you will also find evokers, summoners of great rock trolls, or even tapping into their own past lives to channel power in battle. By the side of the Orcs you'll often find their companions, the Wargs, giant wolves which love the hunt just as much as the Orc. Counted as allies, Wargs are very much part of the pack. When it comes to death, Orcs stand ready. Believing in reincarnation, death is but a path to the next life. An endless, eternal cycle. This rebirth means that old Orcs are viewed as unfortunate. Though evokers can help here, by performing a ritual, they can brand the old Orc as already dead. The Orc is then ignored by the tribe, set out to fight the most powerful enemies on the battlefield, to be released from this life by a worthy opponent. The Varank are the equal to Orcs in many ways. They arrived in waves as the elven kingdom of Gaersel collapsed, living alongside the Orcs ever since. Led by a supreme regional leader called a Jarl, the Varank are a powerful, aggressive people. They are organised into small groups of light infantry, attacking on ships to strike deep into enemy territory. A fleet of Varank ships is chilling to behold. The bows of each ship are a fearsome sight, with the head of a griffin, or on larger ships the head of a dragon bearing down on their next victims. The Varank live in family houses, with all members of the family under one roof. They are bound to answer the call of the Jarl to join his expeditions as needed, and within each house there are also slaves. This is the fate of the kidnapped and captured from Varank incursions. As with the Orc, the Varank are an honourable species, though maybe to a stronger extent. Should a Varank, for example, disobey the Jarl, then the Varank will become an outlaw, losing all rights and property. Banished, destined to be killed by any other Varank if found, unless, of course, they survive 3 years, in which case they may return with all property and lands reinstated. The Varank contain within themselves the spirit of an animal. When they come of age at 12, a tattoo is added to their body called a totem spirit. Applied by the tribe's shaman, this unlocks the animal within, and for some, enables the variant to transform into that animal completely. For others, the change is more subtle, and abilities such as regeneration or toughened skin is revealed instead. The totem spirit is one of many tattoos over a variant's body, each telling the story of the bearer for those who can read it. These two peoples have long lived side by side, but some years ago an orc and a variant tribe made a pact and resolved to head south and conquer. For the orcs, this was a way to escape the fog spreading into their lands, for the variant a chance to recapture lands long lost. The alliance struck south to devastating effect. Despite the support of the feudal knights, the land of Grjotgard on the Isle of Chains was taken from the Mounthaven Dwarves. The northern tribes consolidated their foothold in the south by building the fortress of Grjotgard on their border with the hegemony. Now an uneasy truce has fallen, one which the northern tribes struggled to resist breaking, whether it's striking into the feudum for riches or exploring the CNN lands. The northern tribes bring trouble wherever they go, and it's only a matter of time before they are emboldened and strike out for new, richer lands even further south. Next we head underground to meet the shortest of Lindwurm's inhabitants. Not that one should say that to their face. The Mounthaven Dwarves. Living in underground cities which hang from the ceiling of vast caverns, the dwarves have thrived under the guidance of the master plan. This plan has kept them safe and steady as the world around them has changed. But now, all experts agree, is the time for the objectives of this plan to be achieved. The last war has already begun, and the dwarves stand ready to rise up and claim victory. And they may well do, for based on historic knowledge and imbued with ancient power, the dwarven weapons are the most powerful in Lindwurm. And here lies their greatest unseen treasure. It includes weapons to pierce the armour they sell to the feudums, gadgets to disable the weaponry of the Black Legion, and automatons which could be released into the great forest to hunt and cleanse the elves from its depths. But they need all the help they can get, as many stand before them, intent on thwarting the dwarves' plans. Not least the arrival of the northern tribes and their shock success in taking the Island of Chains. This in turn has led to pressure from the feudum to honour an ancient pact and engage in open war with the invaders who the dwarves now have pacts and trade agreements with. Though these interlopers and sword-rattling knights are not the main enemy, that remains the hegemony of Emberseg and the traitor hence dwarves which they harbour. More than this, the hegemony aided the revolt of Cutbeards and still supports this sedition which took a whole mountain range from Mounthaven, which the hegemony then annexed. Though the dwarves of the hegemony are despised, now as the master plan comes to fruition, it calls for any who wish to return and declare their allegiance to be welcomed. Lastly, the Mounthaven Dwarves look to the shadows and depths of the great forest. They know what lies within. The CNN elves are the biggest threat to the plan, an unpredictable and dangerous element which must be countered and destroyed at all costs. And then, of course, there is the fog. Though the dwarves have long lived above it, the sea fog, as they call it, has begun to expand and spread, causing some areas to be flooded to control the spread, which in turn has led to the displacement of some dwarves into lands of their neighbours, not least the feudals, putting further stress and strain on those relationships. Whatever comes, however the last war evolves, the dwarves are ready, and just maybe their enemies are not. And so, at last, we come to them, the unseen, the figure in the dark, the Scions of Yaldabaoth. The Scions are all that remains of the rightful rulers of the Gaeosale Elven Empire. Pursued to near destruction, these elves are known as the Dark-Minded and are victims of the corrupt stories which follow them. For over 1,000 years they've hidden in the shadows as their only way to survive, manipulating and influencing the world to try and retrieve their legacy, to take back what was stolen. They live apart, hidden, so that if one is discovered, the great plan of Yaldabaoth, the architect of flesh and father-mother of them all, will persist. Each group of the Scions is called a family, and at each family's heart is a progenitor, a wizard of great and terrifying power. The progenitors are elves who have fully embraced their natural affinity for magic. Where other elves limit or reject it, progenitors bathe in the power of the magic, using it to bring the dead back to life, to join their families, and to twist the flesh of others into monsters and creatures of hideous appearance and devastating power. For it is they, the Scions, who live within the fog, which they call the Architect's Breath. Originally the shroud of the ruins of the Gersel civilization, the Scions now use the mist to move across the land, spreading fear and death where they go. No race is safe from the evil plans of the Scions. They have already begun their war in the shadows. The question is whether the other nations will realize in time, and when they do, if they can even stop the rise of the Scions anyway. So, that's the last of the 6 announced races for Warcrow, the upcoming wargame from Corvus Belli. We can't wait to see how these evolve as more units and rules are announced. For now, what do you think of the launch factions? Any particular ones working for you? Any ones that you're really looking forward to getting your hands on? Thanks again to CCG Winkle for sponsoring the video. We'd appreciate your help with like and subscribe to help spread the word of Warcrow and the Dice Gods. Also, if you're not subscribed, please consider giving the button a poke. We'd really appreciate it. Also, huge thanks to our channel members and Patreons, including Joe Rogers, for keeping the Dice Gods motivated. Thank you to you for watching, you legend, and we'll see you soon.